And then you were signed up in a latter version of The Clash. And how was that? Because they were such a huge band at the time and so loved and had such a weight of expectation on them.
Really hard work.
I bet.
Yeah, I didn't really think about all of that because it was just really, I had to learn so many songs and figure a lot of shit out, you know. And there was so much going on, and it was like, you know, 10-hour days every day, and then drinking all night every night to bond. You had to become a band. I mean, you've got to remember, the Clash were always a fabrication. They weren't mates at school or anything. You know, they were put together by Bernard Rhodes. They were literally, you know, take this guy, put in this guy, and let's go. Luckily for them, that fabrication worked. And I think you know, the thing that the real, if you like, the thing that taught me is that it is about chemistry. If the chemistry works for whatever reason, try and hold on to it. Because, you know, what we didn't have in the Clash that I was in was that chemistry. It could have happened, but it didn't. And I mean, I think that's a real magic thing. You know, that's something that you can't plan, you can't make happen. But in answer to your question, the whole weight and responsibility thing, I just, for me, wasn't an issue. You know? It was the job I'd been doing since I was 17, and I just kept doing it.
Sure.
You know, just to a lot more people.
And looking back on it, to read all the books on Strummer nowadays, they all sort of suggest that at that time he wasn't coping with the pressure very well. But how was it working with him for that year and a half or so?
Yeah, obviously, I suspect that he was feeling the pressure. I think the big thing for Joe at that time, I mean, I've experienced the birth of my daughters and I've experienced the death of my father, and he went through both of those things during that time in a very short period of time. Then his mum got terminally ill, and I think that's kind of well documented. That really was the knockout punch, and he did also get shafted. I think that's, you know, evident if you listen to the record. So cut the crap. So I think I don't think he stood a chance really. You know, a combination of deceit and internal pressure. I mean, I think it was more the personal stuff.
I was reading an article with an interview with Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac recently, and he said that what he did in terms of creating his distinctive sound was he took the blues and made it mean something to him. And what struck me about that was that, to me, summed up the attitude of a lot of the punk era.
Absolutely. It sums up what I do now. Absolutely, I think. We're all playing the blues. I mean, I think Keith Richards said, if you can't play a 12-bar, you shouldn't be in this business. Because if you don't understand the internal workings of those three chords and that structure, you don't really understand any music from any pre-war, post-war music. You really don't get what's going on. I'm always amazed when I meet people who say they're musicians who don't play that, who don't understand that form. And there's nothing new to say. You know, you might want to talk about the internet, or you might want to talk about the present government, but really, we all talk about the same things. It's how you make them relevant to you. You know, it's finding a way of saying something age-old that does. It relates to me. I never explain my lyrics, for instance, because I know what they mean. And that's up to you. You know, I don't want to spell everything out for someone, because I want them to hopefully do what I do when I hear great lyrics, which is imagine. It's like reading a book. And
put your own interpretation on them. And
it's like reading a book rather than watching a film. You know, when you've read a great book and you watch the film, you go, oh, I didn't think he'd look like that. I didn't think that house would be that scary, you know, or whatever, you know, but you have a picture in your head. And that's the great thing about music, really, is there are no visuals, you know. It's the great thing about music, radio and books.
Imagination.
You use your imagination, and that's a really important thing to use.
So on that note, do you think music can change the world like it did once upon a time?
I think music can change people's. It can influence the world. I don't know if it's ever changed the world. I mean, I look at what's going on in the country that I live in for a long time, and music. You know, music hasn't stopped the national health system being raped and pillaged. It hasn't stopped the unemployment. It hasn't stopped greedy bastards stealing all the money and putting it in Swiss bank accounts, and hasn't stopped banks fixing interest rates and stuff. So I don't. When people say can music change the world, I don't really know what world they're talking about. Perhaps it can certainly change internal worlds. It can certainly change my world. I think it's made my world, you know, as a musician and as someone that really loves music, it's made my world a much better place. Perhaps those are the worlds we should all be thinking about, because it certainly has no effect on the world of international banking or politics, does it?
Maybe to adopt that line of reasoning, if it changes enough individual people's outlooks, then it can change society a little bit.
Yes, it can change society. It can influence society. I think there are, perhaps in conjunction with other aspects of culture and society, it can gradually move things in the right direction. However, having said that, I guess in a sense, if music is part of that, you tend to be preaching to the converted. So it's part and parcel of something that's an alternative. You know, one would hope that alternative can somehow make an impact and give people a chance to live a life that they have some control over.
Sure. So when will the DomNicks album be released?
The DomNicks album is out on the 20th
of August?
Of September.
September, right.
And we've got a launch show at Mojo's on the 22nd,
Great.
Which is a Saturday, I believe.
And what are the plans for the rest of the year? Are you aiming to tour the album?
Yeah, we're going to play like buggery after that. Yeah, we're getting as many gigs as we can. We'll be up at the Paddo on the 30th. We're playing at Mustang Bar a couple of times. So we're going to play as many gigs as possible in and around Perth. We've got a launch at the Settlers. Then we're going to go over east in October for shows in Melbourne and Sydney. And then we're going to go to Japan.
Wow.
For shows, yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. That's been really fun. Yeah. Always good to get out of the country and, you know, get a reaction from somebody else. Yeah.
And are you planning America? I know Dom's got a good connection with Stevie Van Zandt over there.
Yeah. We'll take it as it comes. We'll see what happens with the record. I'm hoping the record will lift our profile a bit nationally and hopefully internationally. Yeah. My hope with this record is that we can get the kind of national profile with it.
Cool.
You know, and then reach a few more people. I mean,
that's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah,
get the music heard.
Yeah, I want to get out and play. That's what I love to do. I love to play live. I love making records. This record I really enjoyed because I hadn't made a record for a long time when we did the first EP, and it was a big learning curve for me with all these computers and stuff. I'm used to tape. So I learned a lot on the first record, and I could put that to really good use on this one. I really enjoyed the process this time because I knew what I was doing. So to be honest, can't wait to make the next one.
Awesome. If you could go back in time and be involved in the creation of any one song or album in history, what would it be?
God. Any one album. If I could have just sat on the floor and watch Miles Davis make either Kind of Blue or the Jack Johnson album.
Oh, nice.
Probably the Jack Johnson album. If I could have just not even been in, just made the tea, you know, or rolled the spliffs, or I don't know, whatever. That record, just I wouldn't have minded being around and watch John McLaughlin play that record. If you've never heard it, get out and buy it. It's Jack Johnson by Miles Davis. Some of the most amazing guitar playing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I've got that one, and Kind of Blue, and Bitches Brews, another
Bitches
one,
Brews,
and Garda's pretty funky too.
Those three are really just that right off, that first lead off track on Jack Johnson, that comping that he's doing. That's rock and jazz and soul all together. It's just cosmic American music. Right? It's people talk about the Byrds and they talk about the band and they talk about cosmic American music, and for some reason it's always white people playing cosmic American music. You want to listen to cosmic American music, you listen to Jack Johnson by Miles Davis.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
And finally, mate, what for you is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life.
Save the big one for last.
Yes, the meaning of life changes when you have children. I think the meaning of life is life itself and the perpetuation of it. It becomes a very primal, very instinctive thing, to my way of thinking. And you start to think, I think the meaning of life should really be less about possessions and acquiring, and more about listening and enjoying, to be honest. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries.
Been awesome, and very good luck with the album.
Thank you. Come and see us.
Definitely will.
22nd.